process itself has been definitely gradual. It's not, say that Shahada and all of a sudden you're Muslim and you're practicing, and that's it. Well, Allah guides us in stages that are easy for us, because I think if someone came up to you just after you've done the Shahada and said you have to do this, you have to do this, it's a lot. It's really a completely different way of living one's life. I don't know if it's easier if you're brought up into it. I've never experienced it, but I know, when I was 20, 20 when I converted. By that point, you have a very set way of life, and you have your own religious practices and beliefs and your way of viewing the world. And so it takes a long time and a lot of effort to get out of those habits and to completely change your life, which Islam really requires, that you really reevaluate your concept of the world and of life. And so to do it all at once would be too much. I'm sure people would kind of bog headed and say, well, I can't handle this. But, alhamdulillah, Allah showed me or gave me guidance and knowledge in stages. Like, for example, with prayers. I originally, I agreed, okay, yeah, there should be more prayers, and I knew that there was a way of praying that Muslims practice, but I didn't quite understand how they came up with that, like where that came from, because I'd only read the Quran and I didn't really know much about the Hadith and that sort of thing. And so I prayed, but it wasn't 5 times a day, and it wasn't in the manner that Muhammad has taught us. So, but it got me used to praying more often, more frequently, and with a little bit more sincerity. And then, once I was comfortable with that, I realized, in my second reading of the Quran, it does say that there are 5 times that you should be praying. It's not in one spot. Here they are in the list. But so once I realized that, okay, now I'm going to pray 5 times a day, still in my own kind of format. But then once I became comfortable with that, then I found out how one prays properly, and then I wasn't praying at the specific times during the day. So then, I had this inspiration, I guess, or some sort of guidance, where one day I just sort of realized that, if I'm living my life or my scheduling my life around my daily tasks and needs, and going to the movies and dinner with my friends and working on a job, and making my prayers fit in with that schedule, kind of fitting them in where they would fit. That wasn't the right way to be, because essentially I'm saying that going to the movies with my friends and these sorts of things are more important to me than Allah, than praising and thanking Allah. And so once I realized that, I said, well, no, I have to change my life. I have to live first by Allah and schedule my life on that, and then everything else comes secondary. So, things like that. It's a very gradual process of you get used to this, and then you get used to this, and then you get used to this, and I still have a long way to go. There's still a lot that I don't know of. But
do you find it now that it's a bit easier to plan your day, a bit easier to go with your daily ibadat or religious duties, now that you've understood that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes first and everything else comes after? Do you find things a bit easier?
Yeah, absolutely. At first, it required conscious effort to plan, to say, no, I'm not going to go to dinner right now. My friends would say, hey, let's come to dinner. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, no, I can't. Gotta pray. But now, after a little while of doing that, now it's second nature to me, and it's, I just don't plan things at specific times, and it's what feels right, and this is the way I should be living.
Alhamdulillah. How is it that the community of brothers and sisters, and how have they been accepting towards you, and how has your opinion of them been as you've come to Islam?
We're very accepting, I would say. Everyone has been wonderful. People such as yourself.
Thank you.
At first, it was, my journey to Islam was very individual, isolated. And some people sort of say, well, that's really too bad. The Muslim community should be there to help these people out. But I think it's a necessary part of conversion. It helps you to figure out what's going on, establish the foundations of your faith on your own, because you're naturally prone to question why do people do this, why this, not questioning the Quran, not questioning the revelation, but just the connection between practice and the revelation. And so there's this process of doubt and of trying to understand where everything in the religion comes from. And so I think you have to do that on your own, because you're not going to just trust what people tell you right away, and so become comfortable with it. But then, I reached a point where I was comfortable enough that I wasn't too worried that people would be telling me, "No, you're doing this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong," and I needed that support group to strengthen my iman, my deen, and to live a more Muslim life, because I'm surrounded by my friends who are not Muslim, and it's very difficult to live a really proper Muslim life when you're constantly fighting with the traditions of your society and the way people do things. And so once I became comfortable with religion, then it was I needed that kind of support group of the Muslims. And once I came and joined the MSA and started going to the mosque, and that's my life has definitely changed from that point, and I've become much better in my daily practices and my deen, strengthened in my character.
Alhamdulillah, that's very good to hear. Now that I guess on the second part of your journey, this is after you accepted the Shahada, how have the things you have seen and come across after your acceptance, how has your journey been after accepting Islam?
Well, as I said before, it's been like realizing a world